Hello folks, Mel the Trade Tutor back in the studio and back with a bit of a technical video for you. In this video we're in the buildings playlist, I'll throw a link up, and we're looking at how to use DAS modelling clay to make stonework on MDF buildings. Now, I've got this kit from Sarissa. Yeah, we've talked in previous videos about how I'm using balsa wood, and I've shown you how I'm enhancing these sort of Old West kits for Sarissa. Yeah, for my What a Cowboy game. And the set's coming together nicely. You can see it building up slowly over there. I reckon by the end of this month, we should have a full set. And then just the ranch houses like the Christmas project. That's the plan. Yeah, slow and steady, but keep it regular. Sounds like dietary advice, doesn't it? Make sure you get your fibre. You consider this your weekly terrain fibre. Yeah, let's not go down that hole. Yeah, let's not go. Right, let's go back to clay. Come on. Right, okay, so... I do love my banter with you guys. Right, okay. Right, woosah. Okay then. Right, we've got this stone chimney here, and it's got a laser cut effect, which is all very well and good, yeah? It's perfect if you want to just paint it up, throw it on the table. It will paint up really well, yeah? But me being me, I want to enhance it. And this isn't something I can enhance with what you call balsa wood. I need to enhance it with clay. Now, two options, yeah? You've got your DAS modelling putty, or you've got your putties like your milli puts, your epoxies, i.e. your two parts, yeah? The difference is this hardens, this is air drying, it's got moisture in it that keeps it soft. As the moisture evaporates, it goes hard. Other sorts of clay is, the other sort of putty is an epoxy putty, yeah, which is what you call it, a chemical reaction where you mix two, a bit like green stuff, but you get milli put. I've got some around somewhere, yeah. Milli put's a lot easier to work with when doing this sort of work. It sticks better, yeah. It hardens a lot harder, and it takes detail a lot easier. The thing is, the reason I'm doing it with DAS is because I've got things to show you. Yeah, it's not just about how I'm going to do it. I'll do milli put on the other one because it's quick reason, yeah. But the video, let me show you how to do it with DAS, because there's a couple of tricks about how to get DAS to work with MDF. Yeah, milli put doesn't have a problem. DAS does, yeah. So that's what this video is about. It's not so much about my sculpting technique. Yeah, it's what you call it. It's more about the techniques for getting the DAS stick. Right, now we're back on topic. So we've got this, and we want to cover it with DAS. Yeah, now, as I said, DAS is an air drying clay. You can buy it from most places. Yeah, most craft stores, stationery places. It's relatively cheap. I mean, a £4 pack will last you for years for terrain making. Yeah. And I have got a full video on working with DAS, a Back to Basics one. I'll throw a link up into the to the Back to Basics vid. But very quickly, before I start, let me put a glove on. Now, the first thing with DAS is it requires moisture to stick, yeah, and it dries very quickly. And what this means is when you get a piece like this, okay, see these creases? Yeah, they don't really stick together. So if I push that together, yeah, I can still peel it apart. Okay, that's because there's a little dryness on that surface. There's a little dryness on that surface. Yeah, and that's preventing them making a proper sort of seal, if you know what I mean, proper bond. Yeah, now the only way around this is to really thoroughly mix it. Yeah, which is why I'm wearing the black glove, because DAS will get all over your hands. Yeah. So all I'm doing is, I'm not so worried about this hand. This is my sculpting hand. I don't want this one caked with DAS. Is I'm just rolling it, and I'm forcing the moisture, yeah, all together. And I'm forcing it to become one blob. Yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to lay out a sheet, yeah, over our MDF to get the rough size. But as you see, it's still got a little bit of a crack there. So push that in. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you just need to get it into one workable blob. Now, once you've got it into a blob, turn it into a bit of a sausage. Yeah. Oh, see? That'll be a problem. Right, I'll rework this back in a flash. A little bit more moisture. Thrilling footage, eh? Oh. Right, it's coming together nicely. What I've done is I've just added a couple of drops of water. So I pushed it into a flat little bit. Yeah. And I just added a couple of little bits of water. Now, get on the table. Roll it a little bit flat. Now we're going to be rolling this into a flat sheet. Now the issue is, whenever you roll this stuff into a flat sheet, it sticks to the surface and you can't peel it off. But here's the trick. Yeah. Use a bit of tissue. Yeah, just a bit of kitchen roll or something like that. Put it on that. You see, moisture is what dries it. So it doesn't stick if it's dry. So as I roll this out, it won't actually stick to this. See? There's a little bit of moisture there, but it doesn't actually stick to it. I can roll it again. Come on. Check for size. Yeah. Throw it down there. We'll roll it a little bit wider. So when you're working with DAS, the key to get flat sheets is to roll it on tissue. Yeah. Just do little rolls, just to get to the thickness you want. Now we want it just a couple of mil thick because we only need to put some basic stonework detail in it. So pick this up, peel that off. There you go. How easy is that? See? That's got to be worth like watching the video alone. So we've got our sheet. This is going to be workable for at least a good half an hour. Yeah, but these surfaces will dry. And the issue is they won't stick. Yeah, because it's the dryness. Yeah. We've got to get them to stick to this. Now, first thing, normally when I'm working with MDF or a flat surface, I'm trying to get clay to key into it. I normally have to score it, which means getting like a metal tool and scraping into it and just breaking up the surface. This is basically to allow the clay to sort of go into something and key into. Yeah, putting it onto a flat surface is incredibly difficult for it to actually work. Yeah, it's got nothing it can grip to. Now, in this case, yeah, Sarissa have done me a solid. Yeah, they've laser cut me this lovely pattern here. Yeah, which will also work for keying the clay into. So, all I need to do now is get that clay to stick roughly to that. Now, as I said before, when it's dry, it doesn't stick. When it's wet, it does. So, moisture is the trick here. And to that extent, I've got a little bit of PVA here. I'm going to add just a little bit of water. Get a brushy brush. Cool, we must have a PVA brush here somewhere. I'll use this one. Yeah, just going to mix it up. And I'm just going to use this. Now, the reason I'm using watered down PVA is because the water will help it bond to it temporarily. Yeah, but as it dries, the PVA will help it create a much better bond. And this is really handy because you don't want it drying, flaking off or anything like that. So, water will work. Watered down PVA, yeah, just to the sort of consistency of milk, yeah, will work even better. And what I'm going to do is dead simple. Just going to brush it over this. Brush up the sides. So we go all the way up around here. Just like that. Down those edges. Yeah, and then at the same time, very quickly, just going to brush over this and re-wet this. If you're wondering what those brown streaks are, they're they're the laser residue from where I've just taken my brush over the laser cutting, and that's why that's brown. Now that's wet. Come along, place it like that, place it down. in it. And ta-da! It sticks. Nice and easy. So, with that in mind, next thing, just need to do a little bit of cutting. So, sharp blade, yeah. When you're doing your cutting with DAS, you do not want to be cutting at a really sharp angle. You don't want to be dragging, you want to be slicing, yeah. If you drag, it'll catch, it'll pull the other side. You want to be slicing, so you want the blade as sort of horizontal to where you want to cut as possible. And that will give you a nice clean cut, yeah, without any dragging. If I do this side, a little bit off there, yeah, and just a little bit cleaning up. And just take that off. Yep. Yep. And very quickly, we'll just take this off here. Off here. Feel that? Now, for putting the texture on, I'm going to be actually sculpting them on, but you can get these. You can get rollers. I could just roll this up there. It'd be cheating for me. Yeah, but you can do it with rollers. I've got some sculpting tools. We can do it with that. But first, we just need to clean these edges up a bit. Push those in. Same on this side. Yeah, and there we have it. All clayed up. Now, the next thing I need to do is, obviously, I've got to wrap this top little bit as well. So, get my brush. So why does this feel like I'm baking? Feel like I'm putting crusts on things. Like a tart, or not a tart. Willow's the baker in the family, not me. I'm the master model maker. Right, so, right, let's cut that a little there. Yeah, cut that round there. Yeah, round. In fact, no, what we'll do is we'll pull that one straight, because that one's got more of enough to actually wrap around it. Imagine how tricky it'd be if you didn't have these tips. Although this looks fiddly, trust me, it's come from years of learning. Yeah, how you get? Obviously, you can see I'm fiddling. Right, this is going to take a little bit more fiddling. Yeah, but I basically wrap the top in. I need to clean the top off, and I just need to wet my finger and just smooth this off. Yeah, so I'll get this done. I'll bring it back in a flash. And there we go. Yeah, all I'm doing now is I'm just smoothing it off. I've trimmed it up. Yeah, it wasn't actually that more difficult. It took about another minute. It's just so I don't want you sort of hanging around staring at me just rubbing things with a wet finger. Yeah, but that's all I'm doing right now. I'm just getting a little bit of my PVA. Yeah, and I'm just smoothing all my joints off. Yeah, and all my surfaces off. And I would say we're ready for sculpting. Right. Well, now for the sculpting, just move those bits, clean my work area. Yeah, it's just a matter of getting a clay shaper. Yeah, now if you've not come across these before, yeah, these are clay shapers. They're silicon tipped, they're rubber tipped, but they've got various ones. They come in like different ends, but for working with clay, they're perfect. And all we're going to do is Yeah, start off. Should we do it? Shall I do it as bricks? Right. Right. Give me 1 second. See? Now I can see what I'm doing. Right. We'll do it as bricks. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use this. Yeah, I'm just going to use this to actually define my edges. Yeah, so coming up. Now I've done all those. Yeah. Next thing I'm going to do is just work around the chimney stack. So just basically meeting the same lines. Fiddly isn't the word. Right, put it down like that. Don't worry about if you bring up a little bit of the edge and anything like that. That we can deal with that when we wet it down. Yeah. Same on this side. And all I'm going to do is carry this on and do it around the back as well. And just score these lines in. Don't worry about if the edges look a little bit scraggy and that sort of stuff. We can smooth those out once the clay hardens up a little. Yeah, so next off, I'm doing down these edges. So, tricky as hell. Up. Very quickly, just down here. If you want to take longer over this, more precise with a sculpting tool. I'm a terrain maker, not a sculptor. But it's been a while since I've sculpted any bricks, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, so we've got all our basic lines in. Next thing, just a little bit of watered down PVA. Yeah, okay, let's move over. Yeah, that'll help soften all those edges, any little imperfections, and still keep your lines. So, there we go. I'll do a little bit iffy. I quickly just don't know. Right, next bit is poking the bricks out. Yeah, so clay shaper. Yeah, simple as that. The irony is, these glasses, I've got great vision long-sighted, but my vision close up is getting poor. So I can see this clearly. I can't see my monitor clearly. Yeah, so, but there's the brickwork. All I'm going to do now is just continue this all the way up and down and get this done. And there we have it. Okay, a little bit messy at the top. Yeah, but it is the first brickwork I've done in like probably 2-3 years, if not longer. Yeah, but as you can see, it is that simple. The key thing is to understand how DAS works. Yeah, in that, how to use it, how to make it bond together by squishing it all together, adding a little bit of water to get, so you get a solid blob. Then using tissue and carefully rolling it out to get a decent sheet. And then flipping it around and using moisture, specifically watered down PVA, to get it to bond. I mean, after that, it's just a matter of your sculpting skills. And I'm no sculptor, but that is a drastic improvement on, where's the one? Here we go. On that. Yeah, and it is going to take paint greatly. Now, there is still a little bit more touching up, but we can only do that when it's dry. So, next job is leave this to dry overnight. Yeah, let's see you after the flash. It's the start of a new day, and it's all dry and ready to proceed. And here we go. There you are. Now, I've done a little bit of work on this off camera. All I've done is with regards to this roof. If I bring that up, let me just get the angle right. I've just cut off a little bit of the clay and cleared it up from there. Yeah, just a matter of just getting a sharp blade and just slowly pushing it in. The good thing about Daz clay is it is still workable even when it's hard. You can cut it and that sort of stuff. If you use milliput is incredibly difficult to sort of work after it's hardened. It's incredibly hard. Whereas Daz clay, you can actually still work it. And the studio isn't the warmest of places, so it may not be fully hard underneath. Yeah, there may still be touches. I mean, there was a bit here. Yeah, this is a bit I rolled out yesterday. Yeah, and just left out in the studio, and it's still wet. Yeah, so it's still workable. Once it's hardened, it'll be completely hard and that sort of stuff. But there we are so far. Now, as you can see, my sculpting's okay. Yeah, but we can need to clean it up. Now, clean it up, because it's clay and it's hardened, you can use just a simple file. And I haven't got my glasses on just yet, but come along and clean out any scratches, any divots, that sort of thing. Yeah, and get some nice lines. Yeah, you can also use a little bit of sandpaper. Yeah, fold it over into a nice little ridge. Yeah, do it that way. Good for getting the corners. You can use it for cleaning up those little bits, sort of the scrape marks. So where you've been tooling and you get like little lumps and that sort of stuff, you can just take those out really quickly. Yeah, with that. And then finally, the other thing where this is a benefit, like I say, it's softer than Daz, which means you can come along. Yeah. And you scrape some sort of texture into it. Just a little one. Yeah. So that's my plan now. All I'm going to do is just use this file, use this, just clean it up a little. Yeah. Scrape a little bit of texture in, just a little. Yeah. And then it'll be good to go, and I'll bring it back once it's done. So, see you after the flash, guys. Took about half an hour, but it's turned out beautiful. Yeah. Now look at that for an improvement. Now remember, it started off like that. Yeah, and straight away, yeah, just by adding the clay and doing that little bit of brickwork and enhancing the kit, it's taking it away from an MDF building completely. Yeah, this actually feels more like foam build, genuinely. And you've got to remember, I'll be adding the balsa onto this as well and detailing up. So by the time it's finished, yeah, it won't look like an MDF build at all. But it is. I've used the kit as my substructure and then terraining it. And there's another reason why you should consider adding clay and that sort of stuff onto your sort of pieces. When you put a kit together, you're just creating someone else's creation. You know, you're following their instructions. But the moment you start adding to it with balsa, with clay, you start making it yours. You start making it your creation. And when we create, yeah, when we're finished, it gives us a sense of pride. It's good for us. Yeah? Now, brickwork, bring it up nice and close. You can see that file. All it is, quickly clean out the lines, scrape them out, keep dusting it off. Yeah, and then just scratching the brickwork all around it. Yeah, and if I get the roof, yeah, for the final, a nice fitting roof. Please fit nicely. Please fit nicely. There we go. Nice fitting roof. I'm happy with that. Right, guys. Now, the main thing when you're working with Daz is just to remember it's air drying. Yeah, moisture has an effect. So if you want to roll it out, if you want to manipulate it, that sort of stuff, or more importantly, to get it to a solid ball, you need to add a little bit of moisture into it. Yeah, to get the mix and get a nice solid ball, so you don't get those lines and seams through it. Next, if you want to roll it out into sheets so you can apply it to terrain and stuff like that, roll it onto a tissue. Just make sure that after each roll, yeah, you peel it back off, yeah, so that the top surface can get some air. Flip it over, put it back down on a fresh bit, roll it again. You get a nice flat one. Now, when it comes to actually sticking it to something, water is your key, or water and a little bit of PVA. This is stuck on nice and solid, yeah, and it's not relying on just the adhesion from the clay to hold it. That PVA will have soaked into the MDF. It will have also soaked into the clay, so there'll be a good bond. And that's what's allowed me to do the scratch work more than anything, without worrying about things that are going to flake off. So when you're sticking, watered down PVA to the consistency of milk. Other than that, it's get the rough shape, sculpting it while it's wet. If it gets a little bit too wet and messy as you manipulate it, leave it, let it set, go back to it. Don't overwork it or it turns to a slush. Yeah, the more moisture and the more working it gets, the more slushy it gets. So just like breathe a bit. Make sure that, you dry it in a nice gradual temperature. Don't hot spot it, don't hit it with a air dryer. Air drying clay dries via evaporation. If you hit it in a certain spot with heat, what happens is the moisture goes out of that spot, the clay contracts, and shrinks down a little in that little spot, but not evenly, and that's what causes it to crack. If you are doing large sheets, and you want to do large amounts of brickwork, then what you can do is you can just spread it all over, you can spread it out all over your tray, and then once you're done, get a bit of tissue, wet it, and then lay the wet tissue over the top of it. Basically what that'll do is it'll just keep a nice even dampness across the whole bit so it dries evenly. So as the tissue dries, the whole thing dries. Damp cloth works as well. It's a good way of just stopping hot spotting, if you have that problem. But that's only really a problem with expansive stuff. Stuff like this, you shouldn't need to do it. You can just leave it somewhere near a radiator. And then finally, just because I'm proud of it, Mel is a happy terrain builder. Mel is a happy boy. Been a good one, this one. Brick technique's improving. Let me do a couple more chimneys. I'll be sharp again. Well, I'm not a sculptor, but I can sculpt. It's because I'm a terrainiac. Right, folks, let's wrap this up. I have had a wonderful one with this one. We've had a giggle. It's been challenging as hell as well, to be perfectly honest. Fiddly, but I've done well with it, which is a good sign for the old grey matter. Now, obviously, I'm not going to bother sticking that roof on. I'll do it off here. Right, folks, it's time to wrap it up. So, listen, if you've got any questions about this, get them down below in the comments. I'm always around in the comments. It might take me a day or two to pick them up. But I'll get to them. If you like it, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. There's loads of videos. Check out the playlist. Obviously, if you like seeing me on the screen, the main thing you can keep me on the screen is just get in the comments and let me know that you're happy to see me back. Just a comment like that really helps with the old grey matter. It helps with the confidence and it helps bring me back. And hopefully, by the end of this month, we'll see about doing live shows again. Just got to build my confidence a bit more. So, in the comments, folks, And also, if you really love it, then there's Patreon, there's PayPal if you want to send me a tip, and there's a studio wish list if you want to get some kit for the studio. It all helps, But in the meantime, I'm just going to sit here with a smile on my face, admiring my good work like we do as terrainiacs, We just don't let people see it, but we do. Pleasure of doing the terrain. Taking a kit to a creation. Right, folks. See you on the next one. All the best, Ta-da.